Hey everybody, welcome to another chapter of the Book of Sean. I'm Sean. It's good to see you. Thank you for being a part of this tonight. Got a great show for you people, okay? We're going to have a good time. Get yourself comfortable. Sit down and enjoy yourself because I'm going to have a great conversation with my sister Rachel, who hasn't been dating in a while. I want to know why she hasn't been dating, okay? And I want to know, is she ready to date now? I want to know what the journey is, okay? Because everybody has a story. And if you're not dating right now, I bet you got a story too. I know I got one. I'm just saying, we're going to have a good time with this. I can't wait to listen to her heart. Hopefully inspire her, give her some good advice to sort of take her to another level or to at least look at where she is a little differently. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean, and we're going to do some headlines, and we're going to do the headlines right now. How about that? So check this out. In South Dakota, a hotel owner wrote a racist post on Facebook banning Native Americans from entering her establishment. Notice how I did that? Her establishment. Let's try it again. Her establishment. You'll appreciate it in a minute. Now, in a now deleted post, Connie Youre, the owner of the Grand Gateway Motel in Rapid City, said that she was not allowing Native Americans into her hotel because there was a shooting there. And she claimed that vandalism and natives killing natives was the basis of her racist prohibition. And then in response to Miss Old Connie, we won't call her Karen because her name is Connie. In response to Miss Old Connie and her foolishness, the Native American tribe put in a formal claim saying that the hotel is actually trespassing on Native American grounds. So check this out. This woman wants to put a ban on Native Americans coming into her hotel, only to discover that her hotel, is on Native American land. That's tantamount to renting a room in somebody's house, and then you telling the person who actually owns the house they can't come into your room. They can. It's their house. They can come on in that room. Because they pay the mortgage. You don't pay the mortgage, beloved. I mean, this is crazy. So shout out to the Great Sioux Nation. I love all of you indelibly, incessantly. I love your souls. I love your pettiness. I love your capacity to just remind people, this is our country. You can't keep us out. It's ours. Shout out. I wish I was a member, Steve-O, of the Great Sioux Nation right now, just so I could add on. Because this woman has lost her mind. Don't let people take advantage of you because they perceive to have some power or some authority that they've absconded and stolen anyway. Remember, in every situation that you find yourself in, you have power. You have the power to say no. You have the power to leave. You have the power to walk away. You have the power to put somebody out of your life. You have the power to put somebody out of your house. And guess what? In this case, you got the power to put somebody off your land. Woo! I'm glad I showed up to work today, people. Let's do another story. Let's talk about Facebook. Let's talk about Facebook. You guys know how much I love Facebook. I mean, loathe Facebook. But Facebook, and I'm sure you've all heard of this, Facebook and the parent company Meta happens to be paying one of the biggest Republican consulting firms named Target Victory. Where do they get these names from? To orchestrate a national campaign to turn the public against TikTok. So Facebook is trying to get the rest of us not to like TikTok. The company wants people to understand the negative impacts that TikTok happens to be having on young people, and that TikTok is a danger to American children and to American society. Now, I'm not a big fan of TikTok. But let me tell you something. I'm definitely no fan of Facebook. And this is the best example of the pot calling the kettle black. How in the world are you going to try to tell us that TikTok is bad for kids when Facebook is bad for everybody else? But here's my point. How you going to get mad at doing something? How you going to get mad for other people rather doing what you do? What is the ethical import of that? You're mad at other people for doing what you also do. My mama used to say this. My mama used to say, you can't cast out the devil that you slept with last night. Woo, you think Dr. Sean has wisdom? You should have heard Andy Sue. Auntie Sue will give you some gems, boy. My mom used to say, you ain't got no power. How you gonna cast out the devil you just slept with last night? And she was right. You mad at TikTok because you losing market share. And you don't want TikTok, and now you want to warn everybody about what TikTok is doing and the dangers of TikTok. How about this? TikTok didn't ruin the 2016 election and then vow not to do anything about it so that it never happens again. That wasn't TikTok. That was Facebook. Huh? I'm waiting for y'all to say amen or something, or throw your shoe at the camera. TikTok didn't do that. Liars don't get to call other people liars. And thieves don't get to call other people thieves. That's not how it works. You can't take a thief calling another thief a thief seriously because they have no moral authority. And Facebook has no moral authority when it comes to ruining people, society, children, and elections. And I'll tell you why. Because whatever TikTok is doing to young people, Facebook already did it to their parents. Let's move on, people. Woo! I'm cooking with hot grease, boy. Let's talk about the Center for Disease Control. Listen to this. A new study from the Center for Disease Control found that, check this out, 44% of American teens reported that they feel persistently sad and hopeless. And that number is up 37% from before the pandemic. The numbers are even worse for LGBTQ young people. 75% of them reporting emotional abuse at home, and check this out, 25% of them say that they've been physically abused since being home because of the pandemic. Now, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, or you're not picking up what I'm putting down, let me put it this way. It means that when the pandemic started, the people that young people had to go home to made them feel worse than the people they encountered in the street or at school. 44, so much so that 44% of American young people tell us that being home has made them feel worse. It means that LGBTQ people young people have more safety in the street than they have in the house, since they feel 75% more emotionally abused and 25% more physically abused. If you still ain't getting what I'm putting down, let's put it this way. So instead of being kind and generous and compassionate to one another in the middle of a pandemic, American families chose to make their children and their teens feel less safe, more anxious, and more under threat. To say nothing of what we did to LGBTQ young people. American families made their teenagers feel helpless and sad. And yet we want to claim that this is a country built on family values. How is this a country built on family values when being at home makes you feel worse than being in the streets with strangers? There's something wrong with our conception of family value if a person that you don't know treats you better than the people who've known you your whole life. But I got some good news for American teenagers, because I don't do the down, I don't do despair, I don't do some dystopic future. I got some good news for you. You ready for it? Just because you can't get what you want at home doesn't mean that you can't have it. Oh, that's so good. And how about this one, American teens and LGBTQ youth? You can get what you need. You can get what you need and what you deserve, even if it doesn't come from the people that you thought should be willing to give it to you. So y'all keep going. It's going to get better. Let's move on, Steve-O. He's not a teenager, so that doesn't apply to him. Let's talk about Donald Trump, because I never miss an opportunity to talk about Donald Trump, because I'm petty. Yes, I am. Donald Trump is the only person on the planet that I'm petty for and with, and I'm not sorry. You hear me? I promise not to do no Russian stories no more, and I'm not doing no more Will Smith slapping Chris Rock stories, but I'm never promising not to do a Donald Trump story that makes him look bad, because it just brings me joy. And here it is. You ready for this? So, Shayla Craighead was Donald Trump's official White House photographer. And she recently informed Trump aides that she intended to publish a book of images containing the former president from her time at the White House. And this is what every official White House photographer has done since Reagan, and maybe even before that. Okay, I think John Kennedy may have had an official photographer. He may have been the one that started it, actually. Maybe not. Google it. But the point is, they've all had photographers since Reagan. And she alerted them and told them that she was going to publish a book. And guess what the aides did? The aides, Donald Trump's aides, asked her to hold off on publishing the book until Trump had a chance to publish his own book. And if that were not enough, you ready for this? They wanted her to ask Trump to write the foreword so that Trump could get paid for doing it. Donald Trump wanted to get paid for writing the foreword to her book. Now, let me just remind you of something. George W. Bush and Barack Obama both wrote the forewords for the books of their White House photographers. And they did not want to get a cut or any kind of royalty for doing it. But Trump wanted to profit from it. Here's my question. Do you think this is right? Do you think it's right that Donald Trump, who's supposed to be a billionaire, would want to cut into the profits of a woman who's trying to make a living after covering him for 4 years? That's abuse enough, being around his ass for 4 years. And now he wants some of her. I mean, do you guys think this is right? This woman isn't rich. Is it okay to profit from everything that you do? Do you always have to win every single time? And if you always have to get something out of it, what does that make you? Don't we have a name for that? We have a name for that. I'm not sure if I can say it on TV, but we do have a name for that. And let me remind you of something. When you've already won, helping other people win is the least that you can do. When you've already made billions of dollars, helping a woman make whatever she's going to make from the book, what does it cost you to help people when you've already won, profited, benefited, succeeded, all of that? Here's my last word about this. Never trust a taker. Never trust a taker, because when it's time to give, they don't know what to do. I got one more for you before I bring out my guest. This one is for free. I snuck this one in. Let's talk about Tiger Woods, because I watched him today, and he's talking about how he is going to play the Masters. And I wanted to say this because I think it's important that I say this, okay? I'm not the biggest Tiger Woods fan. I'm not a Tiger Woods fan, and I don't know a damn thing about golf, okay? Golf is boring, and they speak another language. What the hell is a birdie? I don't understand half the stuff they be saying. I don't. Golf is beyond me. I'm a basketball, tennis guy. Football, those are my sports. Golf, when I want to go to sleep. When I want to go to sleep. But today, Tiger Woods announced that he's going to play the Masters down in Georgia. And I just want to say Godspeed, Tiger Woods. Godspeed. I don't have to like you in order for me to want you to win. I don't have to agree with you with everything in order for me to celebrate your recovery. And here is a man who almost lost his life. He literally almost lost his life. And today he is announcing that he's playing in the Masters. And once again, I say Godspeed, Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods and I may see the world very differently. We may see being black very differently, but I still want him to excel. He is still a part of us, even if he doesn't understand it. And I want him to win. This man had to learn how to walk again. He had to learn how to stand up again. And now, I'll say it again, this week, he is going to compete in the Masters. I may not like how Tiger Woods treated his wife. And I may not understand how he understands his blackness, but here's what I know for sure. There are some lessons you can only learn with tears running down your face, laying flat on your back, and the world is slowly slipping away and passing you by. Pain can be the greatest of all teachers, and nothing can get your attention like a long night of suffering. So this week, I'm rooting for Tiger Woods, okay? I don't know who the hell else is playing in the Masters. I don't follow the Masters. But I'm rooting for Tiger Woods, all right? Tiger, go get him. And in the words, not of Muhammad Ali, but of his corner man whose name I can't remember, rumble, young man, rumble. We'll be right back with Rachel. We're going to talk about dating right after this. You better come back, too. Bam! Rachelle, listen, she's here tonight. I want to bring her on because we're going to talk about dating. Hey, my sister, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you today, Dr. Sean?
I'm doing great. I want to get right into it, okay?
Let's do it.
Because here's what I want. I'm waiting to ask you this question all day long. Why did you stop dating?
I removed myself from the dating pool because I felt like I was attracting people that were not ideal mates for me, and I wanted to do some self check as well. So the best way to do that was just to remove myself and work on myself professionally, personally, spiritually, emotionally, and just to make sure I was ready. Make sure I
Mm.
was ready.
Look, being ready is important, and everybody ain't ready for what they ask for. So I honor that. But here's a facetious question on some level, because my producers told me that you were out of the serious dating scene for 10 years, and I thought to myself, I could have fixed myself in two. what what took you 10 years? Why 10 years?
you know, I'm deeper than I thought. It took me a minute to kind of figure me out, and and it wasn't that I was, I entertained people from time to time, but the things that I was seeing, it didn't really mesh with me, and it wasn't what I wanted, and I just kept retreating, each time. So
Mm.
I said, let me do the work, let me do some work, and make sure I was who I wanted to be, how I wanted to show up in those relationships.
No, I get that. I honor that. I actually understand that, because because when we mature, it's not dictated by a calendar or a clock, right?
Right.
It happens when it happens, and we get there when we get there. And the goal is just to get there, to become the best version of you that you want to be. But let me ask you this though: Do you regret at all not being in a relationship, a serious relationship, for 10 years?
The thing that I regret the most is not being able to utilize that intimacy and vulnerability muscle, because when you're not in those situations, you don't use it. So, I mean, I was able to see what everyone else was doing in their relationships. But I realized, we can say whatever we want until we're in the relationship, but only when we're in it are we actually doing the work. So that's the part that I was afraid of before. And by doing the work, it helped me to overcome that piece of the fear.
Mm, mm. I'm slow to speak because I'm imagining what it would do to someone, what it did to you, not to have that intimacy muscle flex, not to use that side of yourself. I refuse to believe tonight that not having intimacy at the level that you want it or deserve it doesn't affect you, or me, or anybody else. How do you
Hmm.
think
Hmm.
it affected you?
Well, when we say intimacy, for me, I was able to experience it. It broadened my palette for intimacy, if you will. Not in terms of dating different people, but in terms of knowing that I can. It strengthened the intimacy I have with my family, with my friends, and close, friends, clients, so on and so forth. But it let me know that I was ready to indulge in the romantic intimacy.
Hmm.
Um, it made me better prepared for it because I was able to have these other experiences that didn't kill me. I was, I was like, okay, I think I can do this. It made me a little bit brave, honestly, um, because I only was seeing it one way.
Okay, I'm gonna push you though. Were you lonely?
There were times where I was lonely in terms of like, oh, I would see someone in like this really what I thought was robust, fulfilling relationship, and I'm like, I long to have that one day. But in terms of lonely, like I felt empty, no.
Mm,
But I definitely saw something that others was having, and I welcome that experience.
mm.
I feel like love is the highest expression of ourselves, and so I look forward to having that. Being able to share that with someone.
Yeah, that's a great distinction that you made between being lonely and being empty, because you can be lonely and not feel like you're empty at all.
Right.
And you can vice and conversely, you can sleep next to somebody every single night of your life and be lonely as hell.
Right. Yeah. And that's something I never want to do.
So here's the $59,000 question. Before you took this hiatus and decided to really manifest and work on yourself, who were you as a dater? Like, what kind of dater were you?
I was a flight risk, honestly. I was spooky. I was a scary dater. And rightfully so, because some of the people that I was choosing were kind of scary. So I would see something and I'd be gone. So my day, it didn't last long. And then the relationships that I was in, the flip side of that, Dr. Sean, was the I was giving a lot of myself to people that really weren't worthy. So
Mm,
they didn't have to work for it. They didn't have to work for the person that was taking care of them. And so I had to find that balance in myself
mm. How do you think you became that person?
by watching my parents. My parents were married for
Mm,
27 years. So I watched my mom take care of my dad. But the caveat was my dad was taking care of his family. So that's very different from someone that you're dating and you want to give the same to them when they haven't really proven that they're worthy of that yet.
mm. No,
And that was coming back to bite me on the butt big time.
yeah, I can only imagine because right now I'm sitting here thinking about the experience of taking care of people, loving people, being there for people,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
and they not feeling like they have to sacrifice anything to have the privilege of you doing that.
Absolutely. And I was setting myself up is
Okay,
what was
hold
happening.
on, because I'm had an aha moment. I had an aha moment. Whew,
Oh, okay.
Ray,
Okay.
tell me why women do that. Like, why do women do that?
I think it's because, my parents, watching them in a loving relationship, that's what we're taught. My mother, without verbalizing, taught us how to take care of a husband or someone that you love, if you will. So we emulate that. And maybe it's because the conversation didn't happen with my mom. Now, my
Mm.
dad, on the other hand, was very clear. You don't have a man. I'm your only man, which could also be why I'm single, but that's another conversation. But 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 you know what I mean? So it's like watching that and the rewards of that, the rewards of that, you
Okay,
know.
okay, but hold on a second, because I want to push a little bit. I understand why a woman would do it because of how she's trained and taught to want to take care
Hmm.
of and love and nurture. But once a
Hmm.
woman realizes that a man is not worthy of that investment or does not
Hmm.
appreciate or takes it for granted, why do some women continue to do it?
I don't know because I was the flight risk. So as soon as I knew I was out, I can't even answer that because but I kept having to ask myself, why am I'm the common denominator. So what is happening? Why am I repeating this? What is about me that continues to find myself in these types of circumstances?
Yeah, no, to me, it's an interesting question. I totally respect the fact that your experience is very different. You had the opposite reality and the opposite response. But there's so many women tonight, who are watching, and that is the journey, right? You give, you sacrifice, you love, you nurture, you support,
Right.
and then you discover that the person you're doing all this stuff for ain't worth what you're doing.
Really?
And so many women and men, by the way, because a lot of men are
Very true.
givers and nurturers, we continue to sort of support and do. And I can only, since you didn't have an answer, I got one. Here's my answer. It's because the love you accept is indicative of the love you think you deserve.
Mm,
What you accept from people is a reflection of how you feel about yourself. And the real
right.
work isn't saying no to them. The real work is saying yes to you. That you become
Right.
strong enough to tell people that either you get yourself together or you're going to have to get yourself somewhere else. Come on now.
Right.
Come on. Listen.
And that reflects in meeting people because you have lots of people that have been exposed to that and then they meet someone that no longer chooses that for themselves, then I'm, not an option anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not the path of least resistance.
Yeah, or the easiest option. How about that?
Right. I'm
Right?
not low hanging fruit. Right.
Right.
So it's like, who do you think you are that I have to climb the ladder to get the best fruit? Why can't I just pick it up off the ground? I'm like, that's not me.
Listen, don't make me slap you with this paper because that's good.
I'm just saying, like, I feel that way sometimes.
No, and I want every man and every woman to feel that way. I want
Right.
everybody who wants love to be able to say to the people they want to love them, I'm not fruit on the ground. You have to reach up to get me.
Right. Right. And it doesn't mean that I feel that I'm better than anybody else. I just listen, I've done the work. I know what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And I know that's not true. I don't know everything that works for me, but I know where I'm willing to start at this point.
Okay, so let's change gears and have a little fun, okay? Because
Okay.
I cannot resist asking this question. Tell me tell me who you were attracting, the kind of people that was showing up. Describe them.
Well, so a little history. I've, been in entertainment for 20 years, if you can imagine what comes along with that. Um, Fast talk, and I was in New York, so that's a whole different thing. But just, fast talkers, people that were um just as fearful as I was,
Mm,
honestly. Um, that weren't sure. They were a reflection of me,
mm,
insecure, not sure, wanted something but wasn't sure if it was the best thing for me. Um, Flight risk is They were also flight risks, right?
mm,
They were mimicking me.
mm. And you were, as you just said, attracting different versions of yourself.
Absolutely. And it wasn't, and so that's where my reflection came from. Like, wait a minute, that doesn't look good on them, and sure, it can't look good on me either.
Mm.
Let me dig a little deeper and figure out what this is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so fascinated by you because I don't normally get to talk to people who are that introspective and reflexive. That is to say, to reflect is to think about what you did. To be reflexive is to think about the person who did it. And
Mm,
most people aren't reflexive enough to think about themselves, right?
right.
And not just what I did, but why did I do it? Well, what made me do that? So here's my quick question for you if I take this break. Where did you learn to be so introspective and thoughtful about yourself?
Well, part of my business piece was becoming a coach, and
Okay.
I used to deal with really intense anxiety and panic attacks and depression, and a lot of it was spiritual work, honestly. Just really being still and quiet and listening and having authentic feelings and being honest with myself. Like, that wasn't cute.
Yeah, listen, I got to take this break, but for everybody watching, what Rachelle is saying to all of us tonight is, if you do the work, you will benefit from it. You will profit from the work that you put in. You get what you put in. So put a lot into yourself and watch what happens. You hear me? Because this sister has done the work, and I want you to do yours. I'm gonna do mine. Steve's gonna do his over the break. We'll be back, people, right after this. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to my dear sister Rachelle. So Rachelle, I like your name, by the way.
Thank you.
So here it is. Give me the three best things you learned about yourself during your hiatus, and the
Mm.
three things that you knew you had to change as soon as you learned them.
Well, I knew I had to not being honest with how I was feeling, not wanting to rock the boat. I was a people pleaser. I had to change that for sure.
Mm,
I had to change, pouring so much into people before I knew that it was safe, and I had to change, being reckless with my heart, like just throwing caution to the wind in a way that wasn't beneficial to me. But what I learned was I can move into these spaces fearlessly. I can trust first, and then, if it looks a little weird or shaky, then I make a decision. But I can trust first. I learned that I can be vulnerable, and I learned that intimacy is, um, it feels good when it's reciprocated.
mm, mm,
Um, and the other thing that I learned is, again, you do the work when you're in it. You know, Talking about it is great, but not until you're in it are you actually faced with making those decisions or being emotionally available.
mm. No, that's rich and it's thoughtful. And when you were talking, I could see on your face and in your disposition self the ownership of what it is you are manifesting and believing right now. I could literally look at you and see in your face that you're owning this moment. You're owning this achievement.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Um, it makes me feel light because
Mm,
I've been able to release things in that space, and it makes me feel like I'm open. It makes me feel open, and I'm still very single, but I feel like I'll have some better options to
mm.
choose from.
Yeah, yeah. Single but not afraid.
Not afraid at all.
Single and not insecure.
Not at all. Not lonely. I'm extremely happy. I have a lot of joy in my heart and in my life. And that's something that I'm open to sharing with someone.
No, listen, I can relate. I'm very single, and it's not because I'm ugly.
You handsome, Dr. Sean. That's not it.
Thank you, girl. See there? You never say that. See there? That's what I
That's not
needed.
it. That's not
Get a
it.
black woman around. That's right. But I feel the same way. It's like I'm good. I am good. I'm okay. I'm fine. I like what I'm doing, and I don't have. I'm in a different place because I know you're ready, right? You're ready to get back out there, right?
Yeah, I am. I am. And there's, flutters around. Um, and sometimes I'm oblivious to it, but now I try to be cognizant of efforts
Yeah.
when I see them.
I'm in a different place. I'm like, go away, leave me alone.
Right.
I'm good. I'm trying to make this TV thing work. I've got a book I'm trying to write.
Right.
I don't have time to be no.
They may support you in that though, Dr. Sean. You never know.
You know, see there, see. I gotta keep my eye on you because that was good.
I'm just saying, you never know. Listen, that sounds like fear to me. You never know.
Wait a minute! Don't be giving me advice. This was good though. That was good. That was good. She gave me good advice, people. I ain't listening to it, but she
Might meet a publisher. You never know.
Who knew this would happen? All right, I'm taking control of this interview.
Okay.
But that was good advice, though. I ain't gonna lie. That was good. So since we're being a little goofy, tell me about your worst date. Worst date ever.
So there's a couple that comes to mind when I think about it, but one was a blind date with this little man who was clammy and clingy and talked about himself the whole time. It was a blind date, and I knew it was a one-off. And then I had another date where someone, again, working in entertainment for a while, I was held music hostage at breakfast. He played every single song he'd ever written, produced, everything over breakfast. So I was just sitting there like, are you kidding me? Like, this is our first time meeting and you brought your laptop so you could play all your music. And so I was like, okay. So then I start changing my conversation about who I am and what I do and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Wait a minute. First of all,
it was horrible.
First of all, even Steve-O laughed, and he don't laugh. He don't even laugh at my stuff. Okay.
But it was horrible.
So he played every damn song he had ever made.
I'm like, I'm just trying to enjoy my eggs and my pancakes, and I have to listen to this. And it wasn't even good music, Dr. Sean. It was horrible.
Listen.
It was bad.
I'm so glad I asked you that question.
Yeah, it was bad. And I thought, okay, this is clearly not someone that wants to date me. They want an opportunity. So that was an easy choice to never see that person.
Listen, I'm sitting up because I've been there. Tell everybody how that feels. The moment when you realize you're not interested in me.
You're like, wait a minute. Like, right. And guess what? Now you don't get a girlfriend, nor do you get the opportunity because I'm leaving. So you just played yourself completely.
First of all, that's funny. But second of all, tell everybody how it feels. Take me into the feeling. Because I want people to understand.
Because at this time I was really excited about getting to learn to know someone new. And I felt deflated is how I felt. Because first I was like, why does he have this backpack with all this stuff? We're just going to breakfast, right? And I thought, it's New York. He may have something else to do afterwards. But when he pulled his laptop out at breakfast, I was just kind of like, okay. And, he's plugging it in and he's looking for stuff. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? He was like, there's some things I would love for you to listen to. And at that point, I was checked out. Yeah. When he said that, I was checked out.
Yeah, well, listen.
I was like, I can't wait for this to be over.
Listen, I got to take this break. I'm going to keep you, though. I'm going to keep you because I can't let you go. I've enjoyed talking with you, rather, so much. New York guys, we got to step up. Don't come to the date with your laptop, okay? Don't play all your damn music because the sister said you won't get an opportunity or a girlfriend. It's one of the best things I heard all day. We'll be right back. She's not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. How about you don't go anywhere? Welcome back, everybody. So Rachel, thank you for being patient. Because before we took that break, one of the things I was trying to say is and was And a lot of times we want things that we're not actually ready for. We pray for things that we
Right.
can't handle. And I know this like I know the back of my hand, and there it is. Is that the only thing worse than not getting something is the experience of getting something that you're not ready to handle or keep. And what I hear from you tonight is that you had to take a break from being in the romance rat race. You had to take a break to sort of get yourself centered. You had to take a break and remind yourself of what was most important to you. And in the middle of that process, you also discovered that there were things about you that had needed to be liberated and released.
For
That
sure.
it wasn't just the people who were coming into your life, it was also the life
Hmm.
you were inviting people in.
Yes.
And what I want to say to people tonight is, and to you, is that we have to be committed to both sides of the equation. We have to be committed to letting people in and being vulnerable, but we also have to be committed to growing and being better. Because what if you get everything you want? Come on, Dr. Sean. I got to encourage
Hmm.
myself. Well, I mean, what if you get everything you want? What if he's tall, dark, and handsome and all of that? And what if she's shapely and beautiful and all that? What if you get it all only to discover that they showed up ready and then we were not?
Right.
And so I think one of the great things about this conversation tonight is that you encourage us, you remind us not to put requirements on other people and then put none on ourselves.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Here's my last question for you, okay? Because first, I've enjoyed talking to you a lot.
Oh, likewise.
I think whoever ends up dating you and being with you long term will be a blessed man.
Oh, thank you for that.
No, absolutely. I really, and if I didn't mean it, I really wouldn't say it. I really think that. Here's my last question. You tell me you're ready to get back out there, and I believe that. And you tell me that the fear of all the anxious things that make you fearful are pretty much dissipated or gone. Um, Here's what I have not asked you, and here's what you deserve to be asked. Where are you 3 years from now?
Mm.
What's the vision for that?
Um, you know, joy, joy, and as it pertains to relationships, someone that can, I equate my life as like double dutch. If you can hop in and not mess up the ropes, let's rock. We can keep it pushing. So I'm happy, but not too happy for love. But I'm happy, and I live a life that is very little drama and stress by design, and I welcome a partner who shares those same sentiments.
Yeah, yeah.
That operates in gratitude and that is really grateful and happy already. So that's not either of our responsibilities to make the other person happy, but to continue to contribute to creating a landscape of joy for our lives.
Here's two pieces of advice that I want to give you, and then we'll leave it here. When you connect with someone again, and not entanglement, not situationship, but a real
Right.
relationship,
Right.
I want you to have a council of wisdom, meaning this: I want you to have women and men that you can talk to help you understand some of the dynamics that you may not pick up on right away. And it's important that your wisdom council include men, okay? Because
Mm-hmm.
another woman cannot tell you about how men are. Another woman can only tell you what another man has done to her, okay? But talking to men about what does a man mean when he says this or he does this, that may give you some cheat code, right, to understanding what this guy is thinking, and being able to sort of relate to it differently, or apply the golden rule. If you don't treat me right, you got to go. I love those who love me. That's my golden rule
Right.
when it comes to romance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But here's
Yeah, for
but
sure.
here's my other thing that I want to give you, because I think this will also be helpful for you, is that I believe that you owe it to yourself to show up in your next relationship with as much, and I think you do this, but with as much honesty and directness and as much compassion as you require
Mm.
him to have. And I said this because sometimes he can't jump double dutch. Sometimes he will mess up the rope.
He gonna mess up the rope.
Sometimes he gonna mess up the rope. If I was jumping with you, I'm gonna mess up that damn rope. But maybe he was not sent into your life to jump with you. Maybe
Hmm.
he was sent into your life to celebrate you, to applaud you while you jump.
I have received that. Thank you for that, doctor. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And if I would throw my shoe at you, but it might mess up my, but yes.
Listen, I gotta let you go. Thank you for being on. Thank you for being a part of all of this. I gotta go to Ask Dr. Sean. Bye, Rachel.
Take care. Thank you.
Listen, everybody. Listen, listen, listen. I'm telling you to your face. That advice that I gave her also applies to you, okay? And make sure you apply it because you need people who when you've been hurt and you've gone through things, you need people who you can talk through what you're doing now, and they can give you really good advice. And I say this all the time. Men need to talk to women about the women they love, and women need to talk to other men about the men that they love. Get your advice from the source, okay? And not from some third party experience. Not that women don't have wisdom about men, not that men don't have wisdom about women, but you should talk to a man when you want to know about a man. And you should talk to a woman when you want to know about a woman, okay? Men, we do it too. We talk to our boys about our girls. That's probably not the best idea. Go talk to your sister. All right, let's do some Ask Dr. Sean, people. All right, so this is always the opportunity where you guys send me videos and you always cue me in with all your great questions. And here's a video I got from one of our viewers. Let's take a look at it.
Hey, Dr. Sean, my name is Mia, and I need some advice. My son is graduating next year. However, he have enough classes to graduate this year, which I want him to do. But he want to wait till next year and graduate with all his friends. Shall I allow him to make that decision alone? Your advice, please.
Great question, great spirit. I love your energy. Thank you for that. And great smile, by the way. Yeah, it's his journey, okay? It really is his journey. And I know you're his mom and that's your son and there's a deep relationship between sons and moms. But if he's telling you directly or indirectly that he's not ready for something, then trust him. Trust the kid that you raised to know himself enough to know when he's not ready for something, okay? He is indirectly telling you that he's not ready for the accelerated pace that you hope for him. Doesn't mean he's not smart, doesn't mean he's not brilliant. Obviously, he has enough credits to graduate now, so the kid is doing it. He's doing the doggone thing. But he also wants his journey to be one that feels good to him. And leaving his friends and moving on might do more damage to him than the help that you're trying to inspire. Sometimes we have to listen to our kids. And that's Steve-O, you don't have any kids yet, but that's really hard, okay? Especially when you done change their diapers and it's hard to listen to somebody whose nose you used to wipe. But you got to do it because this is a wonderful opportunity for you and him to have a subtle change and a subtle incremental growth period for your relationship. Because the more he comes into maturity and manhood, the more you're going to have to learn to listen to his opinion and to reason with him and not just be able to make him do something. The older he gets, the bigger he gets, the more testosterone he feels, less and less will you be able to sort of demand and say and expect him to cower and do. But this is an opportunity for you guys to invite another kind of communication, which is tell me what you feel, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what your fears are, tell me what you're concerned about, and more importantly, son, tell me what's happening to you. And you may get a whole nother perspective about this that makes you say, the boy is right. I want to invite all the parents watching tonight, listen to your kids, especially when they get to be teenagers. Because if you don't listen to them, they will find someone else who will. And the person who listens to them outside of your house may not mean them well or do them good. So I would strongly advise you to just change the plan a little bit. Respect his heart. Honor his concerns. Because the truth of the matter is, you're already winning. We'll be right back with more Ask Dr. Sean after this. Welcome back, everybody. So, someone DM'd me this question. After being shut down because of the pandemic, my church is finally reopening its doors on Easter. My pastor sent everyone an email explaining that if we plan to come back to church, we need to get caught up on our tithes and offerings. So it says tithes, added offerings. No, it says offerings. And make our offerings in order to attend Easter. Go back down. Wait a minute. Get caught up on our tithes and make our offerings in order to attend Easter service. Is it fair for a church to expect its members to donate money to a church that we have not attended in over 2 years? Okay, first of all, Steve-O, let's go back to the part where you have to pay your offerings to attend. I think the viewer is asking the wrong question. What kind of church is this? Well, you got to pay your tithes to the. So if I read your question correctly, albeit however cumbersome I read it, I think I just read you saying that the pastor said you had to pay your tithes and catch up on your offerings to attend Easter service. I got a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Money should not be the requirement or the standard or there's no admissions fee at the church, is there? Like, what kind of church is this? This is Daddy Grace? You ever heard Daddy Grace? Okay, well anyway. I mean, there should not be an admissions fee into church. Just like there's not an admissions fee into heaven. Just like there shouldn't be an admissions fee into somebody's heart. Huh? You know I'm right. So that's crazy. I think your pastor, with all due respect to the man or woman of God, they done went crazy with that one. But your question is of a different nature. You're asking me, is it right to pay tithes or give offerings when you haven't been in church for 2 years? And I'm going to say to you that it is right. If you understand church, if you understand what an offering or tithe is supposed to do. You see, it was never the case that we gave offerings or tithes to churches because we were in the building. No, that was never the case. And anybody that convinced you that it was sort of misdirected or misled you, took you on a deep and profound misadventure. The purpose of why we give money, resources to religious institutions is because we believe in the mission and the value and the goals, plural, that they bring to a community. And we give money because we want those institutions to exist. We want them to be here so that they can add that moral, that virtuous, that ethical, that religious instruction and value, for lack of a better way to say it. You give so that the institution can survive and do its work. And churches, just like every other institution, have been hit rather hard by the pandemic. And so, if you support the church, you give to the church. I don't understand why that's a question. Church is not quid pro quo. You know, if I like the sermon, I give you $10. If I don't like the sermon, I give you $3. If I like the choir, I give you $100. If I don't like what the choir is singing, I only give you $25. That's capitalism. That's capitalism. That's exchange value, of goods. That's not what religion is supposed to be about. I am supporting the mission and the work of the institution, right? Because I'm a part of that institution and I want to see it live, and I'm responsible for its success. And I don't not give because I'm not benefiting from it. If you're not benefiting from it, then leave the church. But don't play with your money, because that becomes manipulation. That becomes manipulation. I'm not going to give you the money that I could give you if I liked what you were doing. Now, I have the money to give, and I'd be willing to give it if I liked what you're doing. And I'm suggesting to you, at the end of the day, if you don't like what a church is doing and you're willing to play with the money, you should probably just leave the church. Don't engage in manipulation and then cover it with religion and then expect it to go well, because it shows that your intentions are not in the right place and you will not be blessed. Now, let's go back to the pastor, because I got a little problem with him or her. I do not think that you should have to pay your tithes and offerings in order to come to church on Easter. That's ridiculous. Okay? It sounds like this whole congregation is messed up when it comes to money. The pastor has an admissions fee and you deciding whether or not you want to tip or not. So what, you ain't been in church for 2 years? The church has still been there. I'm sure they've still been broadcasting, and I'm sure they still have to pay salaries. And I'm sure when you were in church, the church blessed you, right? So why not bless the church? Maybe this is your season to be a blessing to the church the way the church was a blessing to you. Think about that. All right, let's do one more. A video sent in by Byron. Let's take a look at it real quick. Go ahead.
Hey, Dr. Sean, it's Byron Jamal, the Love Guru, and I need your advice. I have prior plans which keep me from attending a wedding, but I can attend the reception. Is it tacky to just show up to a reception?
No. I've actually done it. I couldn't go to the wedding, but I could go to the reception. And as long as you let the couple know why you can't be at the wedding, I think you're fine. Just let people know. Tell people the truth. Give them the information that they need. When you give people the information that they need to make a moral decision, more times than not, they'll make a virtuous choice. Just tell them why you can't be there. And then make sure you bring a really nice gift, okay? If you're just going to come to the reception, you better bring some money. Speaking of money, Steve-O, don't go to that reception empty-handed, bro, because they're going to be looking at your side eye. You know, but yeah, it's not a problem. Have you ever done that? Have you been to a wedding reception? Yeah, I've been in places where I had to work and I could not go to the wedding, but I did go to the reception, and I just let people know. And they were fine with it. You know, because on that day, people just want the people they love around them. And let me give you a little secret, because I've done a lot of weddings. During the wedding, most people don't know who's there anyway. The bride and the groom don't even know who's there. They so wrapped up in getting married and not tripping and crying and falling and Stevie Wonder, oh, so now. They probably won't even know you ain't there. But tell them, go to the reception and enjoy yourself. Shake your tail feather, brother. Bring a nice gift, you know what I'm saying? The gift is gonna get you out. You hear it? Listen. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you, Rachel, for being a part of this. I'll see you soon, everybody. Y'all be good to each other. I love you. Ain't nothing you can do about it.